Happy lunch hour, gang. All right, it is Sunday noon, thereabouts, depending on when you're watching this, and we are somewhere around 60 hours from the first polls closing. Yeah, we're that close. Okay. It's real interesting to see what's going on in these last couple of days of the campaign. You know, I think we'd all agree that the Fed money printing machine is out of control, right? You know, it's like, oh, we need another $450 million to send to Ukraine, like we did on Friday. We don't have any money for Tennessee or North Carolina, but we've got $450 million we can send, to some country that's not an ally, not a NATO member, nothing, right? But yeah, okay. But that's not the biggest machine running in Washington, that is for sure. The bullshit machine is running at 11. That's it, If you go through and read some of the media this morning, it's absolutely hilarious to see what's going on. David Plouffe, you know him? He's coming out and saying that undecided voters are breaking for Kamala Harris in droves. I'm sorry, 2 days before the election, the amount of undecided voters out there, you could probably count on one hand. At this point, I think pretty much everybody knows who they're going to vote for. It's kind of funny watching his Sunday morning speech this morning. You got to watch just people get destroyed on the Sunday morning news program. Shannon Bream did an excellent job of destroying her Democrat counterpart here. Well, people are worried about the economy and, they can't afford food and this and that and the other thing and all this sort of stuff. And the answer she got out of Senator Mark Kelly, okay, moron Arizona senator, Democrat, of course, his answer to all the economic issues that we have, well, Kamala Harris has a plan. Didn't say anything of what the plan was. I mean, who knows? Maybe she'll throw chicken in the bathtub with the collard greens, and that's her plan to solve the economy problems that she was part and parcel in creating. But the classic, and you guys can go look at this unless they change it from when I'm doing it, but I'm looking at it right here. Go to CNN's website, okay? And the stories, the bullshit machine is cranked up to 11, like I said. The top headline, Trump lays groundwork to dispute results if he loses. Chances of him losing ain't much. I mean, Kamala Harris has one path to victory right now. That's it. She has to win Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. If she loses any of those states, it's over. Okay? And they're talking about him laying the groundwork to dispute the results if he loses. I don't see that happening. Okay. This was, and we talked a little bit about this one last night. One of their next headlines. Trump no longer leads in a state he won twice, new Iowa poll shows. There's some completely discredited pollster was notoriously wrong in the primaries and elections that came out yesterday that said Kamala Harris is up by 3 points in Iowa. And Emerson came out, I think about an hour beforehand, and said Trump was up 10 in Iowa. This must be a real quality pollsters here when you've got a 13-point difference 2 days before an election. Yeah. Trump's got as much chance of losing Iowa as he does of winning Vermont. Got to remember, Vermont keeps reelecting Bernie Sanders, the communist. Okay. Then you get their next headline on CNN. Likely voters nationwide tilt toward Harris, a new ABC News Ipsos poll finds. Really? Because that seems to be contrary to pretty much everything I'm hearing, everything I'm seeing in the polls, which are all oversampling Democrats. I mean, anywhere from 2 to 8 points. But likely voters are leaning toward Kamala Harris. Yet all the talk is that Donald Trump is probably going to take the popular vote as well as the electoral vote. Okay. So that was kind of humorous. But the best one of all was a video on CNN where they actually showed a scenario that they think is possible, that Kamala Harris wins 319 electoral votes because she wins every single one of the swing states. Right. Okay. The polls always, 2016, 2020, the primaries when Trump ran in 2016, always shortchanged Donald Trump, usually by about 4 points. Some were up to 6. Yet, Arizona, Trump's up 2.5. Georgia, Trump's up 2.5. Pennsylvania, he's up like 0.8. Wisconsin, he's up like 0.2. Nevada's 0.6. If you add in the 4 points to 6 points that they undersample Republicans, this is a blowout. This is Trump taking every one of the states. Now, let's go even further with this. There's talk that Minnesota might flip. You had the Somalis in Minneapolis, the Somali Business Owners Coalition, endorsed Donald Trump. You had the largest Jewish American newspaper endorse Donald Trump. You've had the Muslim Business Associates and the mayor in Dearborn, Michigan, endorse Donald Trump. Somebody please explain to me how you can alienate every group and yet somehow political analysts, political strategists, the media still think this woman has a freaking chance. We have to vote. I mean, I'm sorry, there aren't enough cat ladies in the United States to put Kamala Harris over the top. And it's the only demographic that she leads in. White liberal women. Period. I mean, this is it. She's losing ground with every demographic compared to what Joe Biden won in 2020, obviously. And she thinks she's going to win. There just aren't enough people to do it. But this is what I was talking about the other day, of this being a psyop. They are trying to convince people that, oh, you don't need to vote. We've got it in the bag. Or, Kamala Harris is going to win. Don't waste your time standing in line for 3 hours to vote for Donald Trump. Your vote's not going to matter. Somebody explain to me why she is campaigning in Virginia, in New Hampshire. I mean, New Hampshire has voted for the Republican candidate for president once in the last 8 elections. And 2 days before the election, Kamala Harris figures that's where she needs to go to campaign. They must be worried about losing New Hampshire. Why is she going to Virginia? Think they're going to lose Virginia too? I mean, you start adding this up. The BS in here about she's going to take Iowa. She's trying to hold on to traditional blue states when there's actual potential, I wouldn't say strong potential, of losing Minnesota, New Hampshire, and Virginia. This doesn't get to the point of, say, Reagan-Mondale, but this could really start to look like a Bush-Dukakis election, where it's over early. If we're watching election results on Tuesday night, and all of a sudden we see New Hampshire's too close to call, Virginia's too close to call. I mean, mind you, these are East Coast states. That's going to put the panic in. And you already are hearing and seeing stories again in the media, Trump will probably declare victory early. Why you shouldn't believe it. Trump's a good strategist. He's not going to declare early. He'll declare when they know they've got it. Might not be when the AP calls it, but when the internal polling from Donald Trump's organization, from the Trump campaign, says, we got this one, or we've got that one. I mean, we'll know what counties have come in from different states. And when they go and look and say, oh, okay, 12% of the vote is in, but we know that the other 88% are in predominantly Republican counties, they're going to say it. Trump may come up and say, we got this, when he's at 262 or something like that. And, oh, it's too early to say that. And then, like everything else, 2 hours later, they'll go, and Trump won such and such state. Watch New Hampshire, watch Virginia, obviously watch Pennsylvania and Georgia, because once those two are called, it's over. Okay? If Trump wins Pennsylvania and Georgia, it's over. The rest of the country doesn't mean squat. He's over 270 at that point, provided everything else, unless Kansas all of a sudden decides to change and go to Kamala Harris, you got it, okay? But watching the garbage machine run, the bullshit machine of the Democrat Party, is just absolutely hilarious right now. You can imagine in all these newsrooms, they're going, what do we do? What do we do? I'm betting that Newsweek magazine or Time magazine doesn't have a cover printed this time ready to go that says, Madam President, like they did in 2016. Because that would just be a waste of ink and paper. Pinball out.